Hi, this is Pam, Flower Patch Farmhouse, and we're in the greenhouse again today. I'm going to share with you how to root roses from cuttings fast and easy. It's a super fun way to get more roses by propagating them. I also have a blog post on how to propagate roses by air layering. I don't have a video of that yet, but I'm working on that. That's another way to get to root roses really fast and easy. Right now, this is fall. This is the first day of fall. I'm still taking cuttings. It just takes a little bit longer than if I took them maybe in July. So know that it's not too late. You can even do them in winter. So never be afraid to try. If you're cutting back roses for any reasons and they are not patented, then try to root them if you want more. It's just fun. And like I said, it's super easy. And don't go the potato route. That is useless. You see that all over Pinterest, or I don't even know if they have a YouTube video. I haven't looked, but I know that is not fast and easy to root by potatoes. I've tried it. I've tried it in summer, tried it in winter. I've tried it all across the board. I never got a rose to root. And when it's so easy to do it this way, why even bother wasting a potato? So anyways, I just wanted to throw that in there for you. So let's get started. First, let's go out to the garden, and we are going to take our cuttings. Here is a rose. This is actually one I had propagated from a rose out in my garden. I attempted to show you in the garden, and I don't know if it turned out how to take a cutting. It's kind of hard to set up the camera out there. It's not always even ground. This is a vintage rose called Kirsten Poulsen, and you will notice right here is a juncture. I like getting at junctures. I told you that before, but for some reason they seem to root better. And I'll take it off at the top here. I'll take this side shoot off. I could cut it like that. So here's a good, nice piece. So I'd say that's almost 6 inches tall. That's what I like. It's not too flexible, but it's not too hardened. You see this one over here? It's kind of browned. That's too hardened. Those are harder. They will root, but they are much harder to root or take much longer. So there is my cutting. You don't have to have leaves on it, but if you want to, leave them on there. And now we're going to prep these to put into the medium that you're going to put it down into. So these canes, I have 1, 2, and 3. This one I have to take the leaves off. Even though this is shorter, I'll go ahead and try it. It doesn't hurt. It might not take. It's kind of narrow or small around, but it doesn't hurt. It's better than just throwing it away. And you never know what will take. Alrighty. So that is how I take my cuttings. Now, I showed you that I like taking them at these junctures, that you don't have to do that. I just find myself that for some reason they've always rooted better if there was one of those. But if you wanted to cut it here, these leaf nodes a lot of times is where roots will come from. So just extra hint. One more little trick I wanted to share, and that is if I'm going to be doing several different varieties in the same container, then I will actually write on the cane which one it is. This one was from out front. This is my Eden rose, so I will put Eden in teeny tiny letters on it. And then these were the Kirsten Poulsen, so I'll just put K-I-R, and I will know what that means. And then I don't have to worry about losing track of what I've tried to propagate in which container. That happens. So if you do a lot of propagating, you'll forget what you put where, trust me. Okay, so on to getting them put into their container. Now here is the container I'm going to use. This is a water jug. Distilled water is what I use for my cleaning solution. And I've cut it from the base of the handle down here. It left a little, like a 1 inch or a little bit wider piece, so it acts as a hinge. Cut it all the way around, and I have holes in the bottom. So that's going to be what I put the cuttings in. Here, this medium that I'm going to put it in, this is mostly perlite. I have a little bit of compost in it. And so that's what I'm going to stick the cuttings down into after they have been cut. So that's ready to go. I have it dry right now. I will water it after I have stuck the cuttings in it. Now, if you want to water it ahead of time, get it moist, feel free. All right, so I'm going to start with this Cecile Bruner one down here at the table. I'll cut the little butt off, and I'm going to look in the camera and make sure you can see. And now I'm going to wound it down here. I'm taking the sharp edge of my pruners and I am just shaving down a little ways with it down, and that supposedly is supposed to help them root as well. So this one's pretty spiky. So I'm just wounding it. Now I don't always wound it, so if you want to skip that part, go right ahead. So I have my rooting hormone, which this is called Hormex 8, and I'll put a link for it in the description box, as well as in my blog post I have on rooting roses from cuttings. And I just paint it on there. Just dust it on there good. Now this is going to go down right to there, so I'm going to dust all of these spots up here that are going to be under the dirt. And so all those spots can have a chance to also root. This is very loose, so just pushing it in there is not going to take the rooting hormone off of the cane. So this one is going to be wounded as well, right along here. I think I'll take off these sides a little more. And this one, I will dust this out of the way. Get my paintbrush and paint them liberally with the rooting hormone. Now the Hormex 8 is supposed to be more powerful, or is more powerful, has more of the concentrate of the hormone in it for hardwood cuttings. Now these are pretty firm. I took these in September, which is a little late in the season, but I have got at least 6 more weeks, probably frost-free, where we'll have decent temperatures. So I can probably get these rooted before cold weather sets in, and it never hurts to try. So if you don't do it, you definitely won't get any roses, but when you try, you never know what will work. Water it in, kind of water around them, get the medium really moist, and it will run out, but I want it to sit in it briefly so it can absorb as much. Really moisten the perlite and the compost. Now, I don't remember if I gave you the ratio. This is probably 60-70% perlite, and the rest is the compost. Now, I'm just going to close the lid, and one of them is a little bit tall, so it's kind of hindering it closing. But I'm going to take some electrical tape. I didn't have duct tape. Duct tape is a really good way to do this. So, but the electrical tape will work too. Let me kind of get it, if I could get it to tear. I'm terrible. My husband can just tear it like lickety-split. Okay, I'm going to tape it right here to kind of keep it closed while I try to tape it around. Sitting inside this little tub thing is a pain. Okay, I'm going to have to take it out, let it drip everywhere so I can show you and you don't have to wait until that's done. It will drip off, but that's okay. Now this is mostly dry around here. Let's put this on here as a little contact. Like I said, duct tape is better, but I don't have any in here, so I'm going to try to tape this around with the electrical tape. And that just keeps it. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, my other one, I never did tape it. It's just left open, but it will hold more moisture if you tape this gap closed. You have this part to put water in if you need to, or you can set it in like one of these bottoms to let it absorb water up into it. Now let me see if I can cut it with these cutters. Yeah, that worked. Pruners are good for so many things. And if there's any gaps you want to cover, like right here is that kind of a gap, I'm going to cover it with another piece. And I'll just cut it. Now, on my blog post, which I do have on my website, flowerpatchfarmhouse.com, I show you where I do it in a pot, a terracotta pot, and what I use for a lid. In fact, I'll show you right now. I have been asked many times, how long does it take for the cuttings to root? Now, when I say root rose cuttings fast and easy, it doesn't mean that the roots, it produces roots fast. There's many factors that can determine how fast a cane or cutting will root. It could be the type of rose. It could be the weather conditions during the time that you're trying to get them to root. It can be the time of year that you took the cuttings, where the plant is in whether producing new growth or getting ready to shut down for winter. You can take cuttings in winter, they will just take longer to root. They're a harder wood cutting where you could, and if you do the soft wood cuttings, they root a little bit faster, but they're also more tender and more susceptible to fungus, disease, and other things. When it comes to how fast the rose cutting roots or takes root, there's no one answer. So if it just seems like it's taking a long time, just be patient. As long as your canes remain green and look like they're putting out maybe some new growth or just staying green. Don't be fooled by them putting out new growth thinking that means it has rooted. Many canes have enough energy in them that they will go ahead and put out new leaves but not have any roots left yet. So be patient. The one thing I pointed out that I like with these type containers as well as the cups that I do it, the clear cups, is that you can see the roots once they've got a good root mass on them, and then so you know there's no guessing. If you did it in like a black plastic pot or can, whatever they call them, or even a terracotta, you don't know until you pull them out and disturb the roots. So that is the answer to how fast your cuttings will root. There's no one answer. I wish I could tell you 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. It depends on so many factors.